Hello, everybody. Um, Good evening. Please confirm you can hear me with an
Good
emoji.
evening, Mara. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining, even though the number is a bit low. I expected this quite alright. That's why I had to give you guys updates beforehand, right? Letting you guys know so you'll be able to clear your schedule. For any which way, I think we'll just go with this number, right? Um So before we dive deep into what we have, remember I said this is going to be like a 45 minutes, 30 minutes class. It won't take time, right? Um and somebody just briefed me what we discussed on Sunday. Let's just do a quick recap. What did we discuss on Sunday? Please don't tell me you've eaten food and then you forgot to know. Do you guys even have the slides?
Okay. Okay. We do not have access to slides.
Okay.
So I was going to say something about what we talked about on Sunday.
Right. Go ahead.
Hey, so the topic was product discovery, user research and identifying problems basically. So we spoke extensively around what a what or who a user is and the need to build for users, and you can only do that by conducting user research through method like surveys, user interviews, and the likes. And we talked about problem identification. You mentioned, um, trying to recall now. You mentioned identifying problems. So normally, if you want to build a product, you would have to conduct a research to identify or to check if what you want to build is a problem worth solving. So you get to conduct user research. So also that you can validate those problems, because it's going to cost more or it's going to be a waste of time and resources to go ahead with a product without first conducting a research or without first validating that problem to be sure that yes, this is something that people need and this is something we can go ahead with. So you talked about building the wrong product and then what it takes to, or why products fail. One of the major points there was lack of awareness. Most products fail because people not know about it. And you made us understand that it's possible for someone to do research and and in the end the product fails again because the there's not, or there was not um um proper awareness. Another point was product market fit. Yes, you talked about product market fit, and that, and what it means is for your product to get to product market fit, it means um your product is basically on the lips of everybody. People are talking about it. It's everywhere. You turn right, it's there. You turn left, it's here. At that point, you can say that the product has reached market fit. And you gave examples of Piggyvest, Cowrywise, and the likes, Chowdeck. Yeah. Um. And that's like what I remember. Hello.
Okay, amazing, really, really good. Yeah, at least somebody was really, really following. And I believe for Victor to have said this, that means all of you actually have this. Like you could still um remember, right? Okay, let's get right into it so that I don't keep you guys because we work tomorrow. So this will be like the last topic, right? And it's identifying and prioritizing problems. Now we've been able to talk about doing the user research. We've been able to understand that, oh, this user research is helping us to solve the user's pain points. But there could be 1001 problems that these users will have, right? We cannot do all of them at the same time. And sometimes these problems are not necessary. Don't these problems sometimes don't even have to we don't even have to do them, right? So in today's class, we would learn how to prioritize problems and then also know how to identify problems. Even when users do not give us feedback, we'll know when to identify problems too. So problem framing techniques. So how to clearly define users and business problem. So what's problem framing? I said is the process of defining a problem in a way that guides decision making and problem solving efforts. A well framed problem statement help businesses and product team avoid assumptions, eliminate bias, and ensure alignment with users' needs. Yeah, if we don't properly frame our problems, right? Where we'll be having a lot of assumptions. That's why the CEO will be saying, I think we should do this, I think we should do that. The team too will be coming up with their own assumptions. And mind you, this is a product. We cannot be working on assumptions, but we need to work on facts, right? So why does this problem framing even matters in the first place? Why don't we want assumptions? Why do we want to eliminate biases and ensure that there's an alignment with what our users needs? One is because we want to help team focus on solving the real users and business problems. There are a lot of problems. Do we agree? Yes. But there are problems that are from real users, not from what the CEO think is a problem. So when we frame our problems properly, the team will be able to focus on the real user and then the business problems, not opinion based problems, right? Another thing is to avoid doing this help us to avoid solution first thinking. And that's why in our first class we spoke about using the whole drill process, right? Helping us to think critically, helping us to understand. I think that's why we even got to say something about Albert Einstein, where he said if he has 1 hour, he's going to use 55 minutes to think about the problem and then 5 minutes for the solution. So when you why problem framing matters, it will help us avoid a solution first thinking because that's not really a good approach, right? It's very important to focus first on the problem before you start coming up with solution. Because if you're able to understand the problem very well, you'll be able to come up with the best solution. And then another thing is it creates a shared understanding among stakeholders, right? Another one, it enables data-driven decision making because there's a data, like you could see figures, and then you know that this is facts, this is not based on opinion. And then another reason why it matters is to increase the likelihood of building valuable product because once you understand the problem, you'll be able to build something that is way, way, way suitable for the users. So these are some certain techniques, right, to um, identify a problem. So the first techniques is the 5 why techniques. So what this technique does is it helps us uncover the root cause of a problem, by repeatedly asking why. So how do we use these techniques? It's as simple as there's a problem. So what is the problem? You state the problem. Once you state that problem, you would ask yourself, or maybe ask your team, if you are much in your team, you will now ask your team, why did this happen? Right? You will ask, why did this happen? If it's yourself, you would give an answer to it. You could write it down or something. Me, I like to write it down, right? Or if it's a team, let's say they lost 1,000 users, and then you now ask, why did we lose 1,000 users? Of course, you start to let the team speak because of this, because of that. Everybody will bring in their opinion, and if it is just you, you'll be the only one responding. And then based on whatever answer that you gave, or maybe your teammates gives, you will now add another why based on the previous answer that they gave you. You repeat this process at least 5 times. When you do this 5 times, you'll be able to get to the root cause. Let me quickly give you a disclaimer here. Sometimes you exceed asking the why 5 times because you've not gotten the root cause. While sometimes you might not even get to the fifth time before you get the root cause. So it just depends. If you ask a why again and there's still an answer to that why, of course, and it's more than 5, you would continue, right? That's what I like to say this thing to people. You see, this product management thing, it's something you can even apply to your life too at the same time. If something is not going as planned, ask yourself, why is this happening? Get the answer, ask again, why is this happening? Do you get? So an example here I gave was, the problem is users abandon car rental bookings before payment. That's the problem. So, but why do they even abandon this car rental booking before they make payments? So our first why is, the final payment page has a high exit rate, right? But why does the final payments page has a high exit rate? We'll ask ourselves that question again. Okay, because users are surprised by hidden charges. Okay, why are users surprised by hidden fee? Because fees are only disclosed at checkout. Why is fee only disclosed at checkout? Because the price paging does not show additional fee, right? Why does the price paging why is the price paging page not showing additional fees? Because the business assume users will read the terms and condition. Did you see? Like, did you see at the ending now, you've been able to identify the root cause? So now, what is the root cause? From these our 5 whys, we've been able to identify that the problem, users are abandoning the car rental bookings before payment, is because there is not enough upfront fee transparency, right? And that's why they get to the final stage and they just leave. So what is the solution now? We need to show all the fees on the pricing page to improve trust. Do you get this technique? We asked an emoji if you understand this technique. Okay. Good, 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 good. So yeah, that's one way we can use to identify problems, right? And then the next one will be how might we method, right? That's another way we can use to identify problems. So how might we method is about reframing problems into an open-ended solution focused questions, right? So this one is mostly used in design sprints, right, with the teams mostly. So how do we use this method? So the thing is, you identify a user or a business challenge. Let's say you pick one, right? And then you turn it into, how might we solve this challenge? That's the business or the user challenge. And then you will not generate a multiple possible solution. That's why I say this is mostly done with a large numbers of team, maybe you do like a brainstorming session maybe on Monday or something with your teammates, and then you know that there's a problem on ground, and then you just have to ask people, how might we solve this problem? And then everybody just starts to bring up their solution. So in this kind of situation, nobody is keeping quiet. Like everybody in the team has to talk. If they like, let us say your backend developer does not used to talk in this meeting, in this technique, everybody needs to talk because no idea is dead, right? So this is an example. New users struggle to navigate the app. That is the problem. So you would ask the team, how might we make the onboarding experience more intuitive such that new users will not struggle to navigate the app? And then this could be the potential solutions that the team could give you. Maybe the designer will say, oh, let's add an interactive onboarding tutorial. The marketing team will say, oh, let's use 2 tips to guide users through the key features. And then another person will also say, oh, let's provide a progress bar to show onboarding step. You can see that all of these things, they are all potential solutions to solve these problems, but we cannot use all of them, right? And that is where the team now come up to vote. Okay, based on this possible solution, which one should we go for? And then everybody will react maybe online. If you're doing it on FigJam, for example, there's how you could just drop like your thumbs up, like, oh, I voted for this, and then you can now count anyone with the highest vote. Any of this potential solution with the highest vote is what the team will now go for, right? Good. And then the next one is the NC power matrix for prioritization. I've not actually used this before, but a friend of mine has actually used, and this is what she actually likes to use. So what this one does is it helps him decide which problems to address first based on urgency and importancy, right? Based on urgency and importancy. So how it works is this: you categorize your problems into 4 quadrants, right? Which is urgent and important, important but not urgent. So the urgent and important means we are solving this immediately, and then for your important but not urgent, we will just schedule to fix it. And then your urgent but not important is something we can delegate the task to somebody else to do it. That is where you can also give it to maybe APIs or something. And then not urgent, not important is something we can just ignore for now. Ignore for now does not mean we are not doing it. Oh, it's just to ignore it for now. So here's an example of how it works. So for example, a travel booking site. So how it works is urgent and important. What is the urgent and important things we need to do for this travel booking site? The urgent and important task to do first is to fix a payment bug causing transaction failures. Yes, that's like the most important thing you need to do because we need money, right? We cannot go and be doing adding an AI chat box for fun interaction when we are getting a payment bug that is causing a lot of transaction failures and people are not able to pay for our products, right? So that's like the most important thing we need to do right now. And then important but not urgent could be improve the user interface. That's the meaning of UI. UI means user interface for better usability. That means improve the user interface on that's the whole flow on your phone so that people can be able to use the product very well. You can see that this is important, but it is not urgent, right? And the urgent but not important would be respond to a one-time customer complaint. It is urgent, but it is not important. And that's why some of us say will send problems, we will send our problems to Piggyvest or OPay. They will not answer us immediately because some of these problems that we tell them, they are urgent, but at this point, they are not important. So that's why we don't get fast response sometimes, right? And then the last one, which is not urgent and not important, will be adding an AI chat box for phone interaction. So Based on these problems now that I've categorized into 4 quadrants, what are we doing first? It's the urgent and important. So what is the solution? The solution will be to focus on fixing the transaction failure first before every other thing. And then the next techniques will be the jobs to be done framework. So what the JTBD framework does is it focuses on the functional, emotional, and social jobs users are trying to accomplish rather than the product itself. So this is more on the users rather than it's the product. So how do we use this? So we're going to define the job the user wants to get done, right? And then once we've been able to identify the job the users want to get done, define it, the next thing we want to do is to identify the struggles they face in completing that job. Once we're able to identify the struggles they face in completing that job, then we'll now determine a perfect solution. We'll determine what a perfect solution will look like for them to get the job done. So here's an example. A freelancer wants to track a project expenses easily. That is, remember I said from the user perspective now, not the product. So the user is the freelancer. And what is the job that he wants to get done? The job the user wants to get done is he wants to track project expenses easily. So that's the job. The next thing we want to do is to identify the struggles they face, right? So what are the struggles they face? The current app are complex and require manual entry. That's the struggle they face currently. So now, based on this struggle that they face, we want to be able to determine a perfect solution such that this freelancer, who is the user, will be able to track their project expenses easily on the app. So the ideal solution we would now come up with will be an app that auto categorize expenses and generate reports. That is the ideal solution. Remember, we said determine what the perfect solution will look like. We will determine what it will look like. It's not like we have the solution now. We don't have the solution now. We just want to determine what the perfect solution will look like. That's why I said an ideal solution. Now that we've decided that, okay, this will be the ideal solution, now we now have to come up with the actual solution now. So the actual solution will now be design a finance tracking app with automated expense category. So now you now have the actual solution, and then based on this, you'll be able to come up with documentation for your designer to go and work on, right? So here's our final our 5 key takeaways for these techniques. We said we would use the 5 whys to find the root cause. We'll use the how might we question to reframe problems creatively. We would use, okay, I didn't talk about user journey mapping, did I? No. Okay, we didn't talk about user journey mapping. But basically what user journey mapping is, we spoke about user journey mapping. I think that slide went to another one. I think we did, to identify the pain points. Let me quickly show you guys. I think we did, which was this. What's this screen? Yeah. Which was this, right? This is the user journey mapping. How did it come here? But this is what a user journey mapping looks like. You use it to identify a customer problem, pain points, right? Okay. Yeah. So we would use the jobs to be done to focus on what users are trying to accomplish, and then it's a hover matrix. We use it to decide which problems to solve first. Do we understand? I told you this class would not be long. I said it earlier. Do we understand? Amazing. Amazing. So I have some few questions here, right? Which is, what's the daily challenge you face that could be solved with a new problem, with a new product? What's the daily challenge you face that could be solved with a new product? Let's say, like me now, one daily challenge I face every day will be going to bed early, right? So how could it be solved with a new product? Honestly, there's already an existing product. It's because I can use my alarm. I even have it set on my phone. There's a notification that pops up that say go to bed now, but we still not go to bed. I've never I've been getting that notification now for more than 6. I'm okay. Let's not be like I'm exaggerating, but more than 4 months now. But for that whole 4 months, I have never obeyed that thing. But I get the notification every single day, but I don't obey it. Maybe if I have something that will shut down my phone entirely, and then I don't have choice, and that would be like the new product. So yeah, what about you guys? Tell me what's the daily challenge you face and okay, sleeping early. Please, you guys should talk. Adeze is saying something. Yeah, I want to hear from you guys. One day challenge I face is sleeping early and waking up early. Challenge, oh, oh my god! I wish this is how I want it. I really want it this way. Adeze. I want to sleep early and then wake up very early. If I can have it, please let's exchange. Adela, you want to say something? Please go ahead. Yeah, I like this your challenge, Adeze. Please let's exchange challenge. Oh yeah, now you should talk. What's your challenge? I mean, you don't have any challenge that you're facing. Ah, wow, you are amazing. You are perfect. I can't sleep early. Okay. That means we're literally on the same path. Because even me, I can't sleep early. That's the point. Okay, who's speaking? Go ahead, please. Diola, you don't want to talk to us.
I think we are now three. I mean, myself, Adize, and you. I
Okay.
mean that thing is a very big challenge.
I think we need a product that will shut down our phones and everything.
Ac- actually, there's this product. I've not used it anyway. Where you get to set the time, and then your phone it locks your phone when it gets to that time. But then, if I was going to use something like that and I want to do something on my phone, I will remove it beforehand. So so it doesn't lock the phone or something like that. But
I
so
don't
I
really
don't.
hear you. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was speaking to Adiola. She said she's speaking, but we can't hear her.
Oh,
Oh,
oh, oh.
you can just write it in the chat box.
All right. So I think that thing I cannot remember the name here, but I know it's something like that exists. But then you can always okay. One time I tried what's it called now on Android digital well-being where you get to set like a time for some of your applications to shut down, something like that. At some point, I had to go remove those things because I had things to do, and I cannot have my phone shutting down just like that. So
Oh my god, it's the same thing with my Instagram. I set daily timer, right? Once it's because I said okay, I was going to spend 1 hour on Instagram. Once it's that 1 hour and they tell me, oh, your daily time limit has I'm going to say it's not limits for today. And then because let's say I press 15 minutes or maybe 5 minutes, like give me more 5 minutes more, give me 5 minutes more. But if I get tired of pressing that, I just click on ignore limits for today. Please don't disturb me. It's my phone. Okay. So let's quickly do this thing. Let's be sure that we understand this 5 whys. We are going to want to tackle a problem now, right? Which is why do students struggle with online learning? Thank God all of you are even here, sir. I'm sure a lot of you are really struggling, even with this class. So if you are just even attending, let me not be like, I registered for this thing and then I cannot join. That's why you are just joining. So let's tackle the problem now and then come up with possible solution, right? Why do students struggle with online learning? So the first why now, why do you guys struggle with it? Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go. Why? Who's going first? Because what? Let's know.
Okay, because most people have um really short attention span. So yes, okay, that I think that's one that's a question that's an answer to the first why.
Okay, because most people have short attention span. Okay, before we go to your second, before we go to the why do people have short attention span, do anybody has another answer that is different from what Victor said?
Hello. So I feel maybe I should use myself as an example. I
Yeah.
feel maybe because um, a lot of us are more active when we have a physical class or when we have a lot of people we can interact with and get to do something at that particular time. Just do it and know that you have done it and just get off it.
Okay. Adiola is also reacting to that. I think she's also in support. Okay, Adiola, go ahead. Okay, let's. Adiola, if you're speaking, we cannot hear you. Victor, can you do me a favor? Can you please write down everything because we want to do something here? Yours is short attention span.
Okay.
Adese's own is physical class, right? Because
Yeah.
okay, you get what she said, right?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, Adiola.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I was using my laptop before. I do not know why you guys could not hear me. So piggyback of what Adize said. I remember we last session, first semester in my school, they were saying they wanted to renovate hostel. So we had our semester online, and I feel like having to, will I say, fellowship in quotes, like having to learn with other people also helps learning. But now it's at home alone watching this our lecturers read the slide. There was no zeal, there was no ginger, like, okay, let me even read, let me even try to understand what this person is saying. So I feel like students really do not pay attention, or really do not, or they struggle with online learning because that fellowshipping of brethren in quotes actually
It's not
also helps learning.
okay. Well, should I say something to Adiola to what you just said? It's
Oh
not
yes,
just that fellowship, it's because you don't have somebody to make noise with when the lecture is becoming boring. Because if you're
it's part
inside the
of it
class,
now. It's also part of learning.
part of like when you are talking to your classmates now, you've gone off the hook, like you've taken a break, and then when you stop that gist, then you focus back with your lecturer. So so at that
But
point,
you know that it helps to a certain extent, especially
yeah,
when
yeah,
the lecture is boring or
very
something. And
boring. Yeah, it does.
exactly.
Okay. Fellowshipping. So physical present. I think Adeze and Adiola is on the same page, right? Okay. Musumola, go ahead, please.
All right, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Yeah, so one thing I know that students struggle online for online learning is that one, I think data, like network issue, and second one is distraction. Especially when you're on class online, you just get a notification from Instagram, from TikTok, and even WhatsApp, and you don't want to just leave the class or just let me just go and check this thing because this TikTok will do something that I somebody said he likes you, and you'll be like, what's going on? And just that, like, so maybe somebody posted a video, and you just write, I someone says he likes you, so you will not have time. You will not have, like, how will I put it? you will not be calm to you just say, let me quickly go and check this thing.
Fine.
So I
Okay.
feel that distraction too is also there. Distraction, like maybe from social medias and notification and all. So
Okay. Victor, you're not writing this thing down. I'm not seeing it here. Because we want to pick each of these points they're giving and then we'll give possible solutions to it.
Okay, I'm writing it somewhere. I'm just going to copy it and paste.
Okay, okay. And then Priscilla over here said some tutors or teachers are not engaging enough and students tend to lose interest easily. Okay, okay. That's that. Okay, let's put that as another point. We have 4 points now. Okay, so let's start with Victor's point, which is Victor, what was your point again? Sorry.
Short attention
Short
span.
span. Okay. Now let's get possible solution for this. So why do people have short attention span? Answer from anybody. Why? Why do people have short attention span to learning online? For me, I'm going to say because there are no breaks. There are no breaks in between the classes. That's why they have short attention span. That's my own first why. So Victor, now I need you to put that too in another box. Please, let's write the thing, right? Are you taking note of that?
Okay, yeah. Because
Yes.
there are no breaks.
There are no breaks during class sessions. Or no fun activities during class session. No break or fun activities during class sessions. Anybody else that wants to go?
So I was going to say one reason why students have short attention span is because normally it's usually a thing when it comes to online learning. When people begin to lose those sensory details, like they cannot relate to what the teacher is saying or what whoever is teaching is talking about, they begin to that short attention span.
Wow,
They begin to lose interest.
interesting. So all these things that I've been saying, you are not related to it. You have confessed.
I have a point.
Okay.
So, another reason why I think people have short, what's the point again?
Short attention span.
Is because sometimes the lecturer might be, let's say, a bit too fast, or you say something, you don't repeat it, and before you know, that slide is gone. So, if for instance, I'm trying to put down a point, and then before I could even try to come up with something, you have moved to the next slide and you're not coming back to it, you're not saying anything about it, I tend to lose interest on the long run. Unlike a physical class where even if I miss a point, I can easily call the lecturer's attention or ask a fellow student, what did this lecturer say? You understand? But in an online class, once you miss it, you have missed it.
Okay. I want to say a solution to what you just said, but I'm trying at the same time not to say it. I want to use it like from a problem perspective. So we are saying people have short-term attention span because the lecturers speak too fast, right? And when they speak too fast, sometimes they tend not to like go back and then you don't get the point. Remember I said in our 5 whys, sometimes you don't have to get to the fifth whys before you will get the answer, right? So for what Adeze said now, for me, solution I can give to it is, if you are concerned about lecturers that are speaking fast, we need to provide possible solutions will be to provide recordings for lecturers that speak fast, or immediately the lecturer is even or the teacher is teaching that point, and then before the lecturer goes to the next point, you can just raise your hand to ask your question so that you bring that person back to what you were saying. Because honestly, one thing that I've even come to understand about learning is if you don't understand and others understand, it is very okay for you to drag everybody back for you to understand. Especially in a situation where you paid money for that thing. I'm sorry, you need to make use of your money. You need to understand that thing properly. I don't know if you get my point, Adeze. Right?
Yes, I
So
do. I
situations
understand.
like that, you need to raise your hands and then call this person attention that this thing you just said though, me, I don't understand. Put me on the same page. And then even if the person is speaking too fast, you let them know that, oh, you're speaking too fast. Can you reduce your speed? And then another thing I also have to say for this online class, because honestly, even me, I struggle with it like earlier, but I've come to, I don't know, I don't want to call it a hack, but what I do is I don't write when they are teaching for online class. I don't write. I I just tend to listen, right? When I listen, I schedule maybe one day of the week to just go and watch the recordings again. So that moment when I'm watching the recordings, that's where I start to do my jottings because there's some points now that I now start to see that, oh, I need to write this. And then if you're also looking at the time duration that am I going to sit down for 2 hours and listen to this person again? Me, I increase the speed again. So instead of watching at the normal one time speed or the normal range, I can increase it to maybe 1.75. Sometimes I even put it to 2. Yeah. So instead of now sitting down for 2 hours watching that thing, I get to watch it for 1 hour. And that 1 hour, of course, if I don't get something properly, I'm going to send it like backward to make sure that I get the points. Do you get? So for your situation now, I think those are like possible solution for it. Do anybody agree with me, or there's still better solution to this? Okay, Adeze, do you agree?
Yes, I do. But
Online class is always like that. Like even me,
going back
physical
to going back to
online.
recordings, going back to recordings, I don't want to say it's almost impossible, but in most cases, especially when the recording is maybe about 3 hours. Yes, I know you said we should do maybe 1.5 or 2, but to take the grace of God to sit down and listen to these recordings again. So procrastination sets in when
In
you engage in an online class. That's just the truth.
that's the truth. I agree with you. I agree with you, but you know what you want, right? And then sometimes you just have to, you know, do some things to get some certain things done. But I get your point because even me, there was one classes I took that recording, I was just compiling and compiling. What made me even watch that recording was because um there was this assignment they gave at week 8, and then that assignment was in week 4. So for me, that was not jotting. I don't have any choice but to go and watch that week 4 recording to be able to give an answer to that assignment. But yeah, I get your point. But like I said, you know what you want, right? And because of what you want, you have to do some certain things. Okay. What's the other problem, Victor? Let's get possible solution for that. Victor, can you hear me? I actually wanted us to do this thing for 30 minutes too. Okay, Victor. Quick, so that I don't keep people here.
Hello, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay,
But the second problem is people need physical classes.
possible solution for physical classes. Who wants to go first? People need physical classes. Now, what's the problem? How did she say it in the problem? Okay, Why do students struggle with online classes? Because there are no physical presence. I think was that what she said. We're looking at it from a problem perspective.
Yeah, yeah,
So possible solution.
okay, yeah, because there are no well, one possible solution. I
Fellowship.
think most online learning platforms already adopted that. Hello,
Yeah, go ahead, please.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I said one possible solution. And I think most online platforms already adopt that. They gather people together. For example, as we are now, we are in a Slack channel. That's that's a collaborative, like that's one way to solve that problem, get people in to get to learn together, and that way they get to communicate together. Plus, having live classes and giving people a chance to speak, yes, as you've been doing. Yeah. So that's a solution. One possible solution, actually.
Okay. Adela, your hands is raised.
Okay, so although this one I want to talk about, one platform already has it, but I feel like it can also help, and that's Zoom. So Zoom has this feature, breakout rooms, yeah, and this might help during like live classes, right? So I think I attended a Zoom meeting where this woman, she made sure all of us go into breakout rooms, and then she gave us topics to talk about. So like it was really fun. Like it felt like I was actually conversing with people. So we're like three, four, five in each room, and then she could see from our end if we were talking, if we were, how do I put it now? If we're actually doing what she asked us to do. So like that way the instructor can like oversee what the students are supposed to be doing. So I feel like that way it can also help, that it can also give that vibe of physical gathering, where you have to come together with a group of people, your classmates, obviously, talk to them about a particular thing, and then we are giving feedback to the lecturer or instructor. I feel like that can also help.
Yeah, I agree with this because my first job, the first job I had I got in product management was through this breakout session on Zoom that I got that job because we had this webinar and then we had like a breakout session where they split us into two to just go brainstorm about something, and then he will come back to the class to now discuss whatever he said. That's session where I spoke to that person. I didn't know that I was speaking to a CEO of a product. And then me, I was like, me, I'm just starting in this product management, I cannot do anything from there. He shall ask me for my LinkedIn um username, and that's from there. Went outside today, and then he said, "Oh, there was a product management job in this company," and then that's how I got that job. So actually, I agree with this. Like when you take people out, you get to speak with them, and then you build this rapport. Right? Because honestly, if you say you want to build rapport outside the whole outside the conversation, like the way you have the Slack, it's not everybody that have time. Some people, once they are done with this class, they are done until next week Sunday. So I think this is one way we can actually this can actually make sense, but too bad we don't have that on Google Meet, right? But you just said something. Maybe we could try moving to Zoom or something, right? One feedback I just got. Amazing. Another problem, Vito.
Okay, the next one is distraction and lack of data.
Okay. Problem is why lack of data. Why do you have lack of why don't you have data on your phone?
Data is expensive.
Because we're in a country where we have to buy data. We are not in US or UK where you have automatic data. You just pay every month. this is our own country. Even if you buy monthly data, it will finish in 7 days. Okay. Network issues actually is another. It's another issue. It's another problem. So why is there network issue now? But I want you to also understand that there are some problems that are really beyond your means. So when you're a product management manager for some organization, I don't think you will solve all the exact problem. Some problem you cannot just solve them. That's why some company will tell you that. Some people will tell you when you are doing user research, they will give you one kind of rubbish answer that even you know that you cannot solve the problem. Because imagine somebody telling you that you want to build a study app and then you're now asking them what is one thing that will hinder them, or one thing you want them to provide for you. And then they are telling you that make the app free such that I will not use my data to operate at all. You want to put my company in debt? Because it's more expensive, right? It is way, way more expensive. That's why people have to run on internet for the organization. Okay. And another thing, she said something about notification. My best possible advice I can give you is put your phone on DND. Me, aside from DND, I don't receive notifications at all. So for me, I don't even get distracted with notifications. Like I go to any app by myself when I want to, but because I understand how distracting notifications can be, right? So I've learned to turn off my notifications so that I can focus more on deep work and then focus on whatever I have to do. So I don't receive notification. WhatsApp, TikTok, Instagram, name them, Twitter is when I feel like, and that is why on my TikTok, I even forget I have TikTok on my phone. So when I just maybe somebody says something, or maybe I post something and then I just want to see the engagement there. Same thing with Instagram, honestly. So you could just turn off your notifications, right? But if you're selling something, me, I do advise you to turn off your notification or before your customer would, will say they want to buy something and then you do not see it. You now say that it's me that gave me this advice. Me, I did not give you that advice. So please don't turn off your notification if you're selling something. But yeah, if you aren't, I think one of the best thing you can do is maybe when you're learning, just put your phone on DND. Another thing I do is I don't put my phone close to me when I am learning. Even when I'm reading my books for exams or something, I I can put my phone at the top of my wardrobe because I know that for me to go and pick my phone at the top of my wardrobe, there's a lot of things I have to do. I have to carry the chair, put it there, stretch my hand, do all of those kind of things. So for me to do that, I need to be sure that I am done reading, or maybe I'm done whatever I want to do that I don't want distraction. While my phone is on silent too, as well. So at least that could help you focus more on learning. And then another thing you can also do is another thing you can also do is have snacks close to you. Like bring your water, your anything you want to munch on, right? Bring it close to you. Don't stand up and say you want to go and carry it. Because someone like me now that have family members, I can just go now and go and be gisting with my sister and then forget that having a class. So bring everything close to you. That could also help you in your online learning. But I'm also in support of the motion that physical classes are more sweeter than online classes. But it's not all of us that can do the situation we are in right now. We cannot really do that, right? So yeah, I hope this helps. Think of an app you use regularly. Aishat, you are late. You came in late. I saw you. Okay. Think of an app you use regularly. What job does it do for you? Right. What job does it do for you? What app do
My
you use?
banking app
You send
application,
money.
my bank app.
You're sending money. Interesting.
Yes. And I don't know if it's a good thing, but for some reason I've forgotten my card pin. And I can't remember the last time I walked into a physical bank, so I don't know.
Your bank is really helping you go.
No, I tried to transact with the PIN and I kept getting this feedback. Hey, you have entered an incorrect PIN. So currently I don't know where I dropped the ATM card. So I've just been using my app.
I think that was the same thing that happened to me too before I later got this new card, and then I'm just even angry. I wasted my entire time in the bank because that card is so useless. I lost my ATM for like 6 months. I was not with cards. I was just using my phone to do my transaction and everything. But it was when I needed to pay for something and they were like, oh, I need a card, this, that. That's when I even went to the bank and it was even a wasted effort. So I think I can relate. If this card get missing today now, we are still good to go.
Oh,
um, we have an hands-on activity, right? Which is this. So hands-on activities basically. We can call it an assignment. At the same time, I will not call it an assignment, but I think let me call it an assignment. Because if I don't call it an assignment, we will not do it. Abby. So let's just call it an assignment. So the objective here is to conduct a user research and identify the core problems for a potential product. We're not submitting it anytime soon. I will give you or submitting next, not this Sunday, the following Sunday. So what we'll be doing here is when we conduct this user research, conduct a user research and core problem for a potential product. So now this product is you are picking whatever you want, right? Um, if you're someone that wants to build a self-discipline app, whatever, just play around. But I would advise you pick a problem that is something you face because it will help you. It is more relatable, right? And then you conduct this user research with people that are facing similar problems. So what you'll be doing is you will define your target audience, which is choose a relatable problem. Like I said, it could be time management for students, budgeting for young professions, whatever. And then the second thing you want to do is to conduct a basic survey. Use one method. So I would prefer you use a survey method instead of interviews. Because if you use interviews now, I will not be able to know, like, I will not be there. So I will not even know if the whatever data you're giving me is real or not. But survey, like I can see the numbers of people that feel it and then whatever feedback that they are giving you, right? So let's use survey to conduct this user research. And then based on this research, we're going to identify and frame the problem. So we're going to be using the 5 whys or the job to be done framework. Any of them, just pick one to clearly define the issue based on your user research. And then you're going to present your findings. You're going to summarize it in instead of a 2 minute pitch, let's just have it in a Google Doc. Just summarize it in a Google Doc, right? So, for example, this is example for student scenario. A group discovered that students struggle with managing notes, lecture notes. So they proposed an AI-powered note-taking app that automatically summarizes key points and sync with online study platforms, making revision easier, right? So this is like a possible scenario, right, for the user research. Based on the user research and they used survey method to gather insights. They now use they apply the 5 whys or the job to be done framework to frame the problem and then come up with a possible solution, which was they are proposing a an AI powered note taking app, right? So yeah, I'm going to quickly share this. I'm going to quickly share this on Slack. But yeah, any question before we call it a night? Any question? Okay, Victor, go ahead.
Okay, so my question is, while you were speaking, the problem identification, I was trying to, wrap my head around how it applies to new products because while you were speaking, it felt like it only applies to existing products. Why did customers or why did users um drop off at the payment page? Why did users stop something or something like that? It's always about why users didn't do something or why users failed or dropped off somewhere. So I cannot really wrap my head around how it applies to or how you can
For you.
frame it to for a new product that is yet to enter the market.
You can actually use the tool for a new products, right? Because from your user research, let's say for example, you ask some people some certain question, and then based on, let's say, from this your user research that you want to do now, 70% uh are picking like problem A, right? Problem A. 70% are picking problem A. So now, based on this your research, now you've gotten this insight that there's a problem. Oh, problem A has more people that could relate to it than problem B. So what you will now do now is, based on this problem A, why is it happening? Do you get, for like, I'm using the 5 why techniques. So it's going to be problem A. I'm trying to wrap my head around the problem, around the problem, around the problem. Okay, you figured out that from your research, people are saying they are struggling with online learning, right? 70% of the users are saying that. Of course, you want to focus more on um why people are struggling with online learning, because 70% of your users picked that over the problem B, which is, like, say, 20% or 30% picked that. So now you have a problem, right? The next thing you want to do is, why are people struggling with online learning? And that's when you start to apply this framework to it. So you can see that it's not just new products. You can also apply to it's not just existing products. You can also apply to a new product. I don't know if you get it.
Yes, I understand you. Now, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, if, for example, we are conducting the research on a problem, I mean, we already have a problem. Let's assume we do have a problem, like the assignment now, for example. We want to conduct a research on why students do not, or why students, or a problem, particular problem. So the research already is going to be about that problem. So it's not as if you're going to give them like 3 options or 3 problems, and then they get to pick one or something. We already have a problem in mind to give to them. So based on that, that's like what how that like um how they're going to respond. I'm not
Yes.
I don't know if
Yes.
I'm passing this message correctly.
Yeah, I get your points. I get your points.
Okay.
So you're going to give them a problem, not like you're giving them multiple problems, just one problem. So that's why we said identify a core problem for a potential product. Whatever that core problem is for the potential problem product, of course, you start to ask certain questions around it. Let's say it's an edtech app now, right? You are saying that people are struggling with online learning, for instance. That's like a core problem for you, and the potential product to be an edtech. You want to come up with or let's say people are struggling to do their assignments like this ones now, right? So the products you would want to do, maybe you want to create a website that would help people not to struggle with their assignments. Now, your user research is going to be about even the after getting to know your user, sometimes just getting to know self is not really necessary. But one of the first major problems you need to ask your target audience is, do you struggle to do your assignments? Yes or no? Nothing like maybe. Maybe is not an answer. So it is yes or no. If somebody say yes, that is your target audience. So you would now continue to do that research with them. If, for example, the person said no, that person is not your target audience. You don't even need to continue doing interview with that kind of people. For me, I will tell, if you pick no, for instance, that's the end of our survey. I'll just tell you, thank you for completing this. You're not part of my target audience. I don't know if you get my point. Then for those ones that say they struggle to do their assignments, you can now start to ask follow-up questions like, if they say yes, they struggle with doing the assignment, you can now ask, let's say, 5 questions or 3 questions. Which of these causes, or which of these is the reason why you struggle with doing your assignment? Now you're listing 3 problems for them, right? Let's say out of these 3 problems that you have listed, 70% of your users that fill your form are picking problem A, problem A, problem A, right? Now it is now left for you, because you cannot go and be asking your users. You've asked them for problem, you're still asking them for solution. Of course you can ask them for solution, but don't ask users so much for solution. Mind you, we said we want to look at things from problem perspective. Once you understand things from a problem perspective, you can always solve the solution easily. So now that you know the problem A, a lot of people are answering that one. You are now going to ask yourself, why are people, let's say, out of, let's say, problem A, yes. So why are people struggling with problem A? Now, this is where the 5 why start to work. Because this. Based on that, your answer, your first answer. Why is this happening? Because this again. Then it continues. I'm trying to believe up my head to a possible statement. I don't know why it's not coming to my head. That's why I'm using this. I don't know if you get it.
I understand you now. Understand.
Okay. Anybody else? Any question before we call it a night? Okay, if there are no questions, good night. And tell me good night by reacting with this emoji, please. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Nice.
Bye, guys.
Good night. Bye.